Natural or synthetic fabrics? Which one is better for your next sewing project? Inside this video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of both so you can pick the perfect fabric for your next project. Hi, I'm Abby, and this video is part of the Fabric Shopping Bootcamp, a free YouTube event where I have teamed up with a bunch of amazing fabric shops and pattern designers to help you shop smarter and sew with confidence. If you've ever felt overwhelmed at the fabric store or the idea of shopping for fabric online gives you what? How would I ever do this? Don't worry, you are not alone. It's the exact reason why I have built this event for you. Make sure to check out the description for a link to join the official event. You'll get access to all the videos, emails right to your inbox so you don't miss anything, and a chance to win over $500 in sewing prizes. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Now, let's hear from Nicole's studio to see which fabric is best for you, natural or synthetic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my studio. I am Nicole, the designer and pattern maker behind Nicole Studio, where I sell fun and playful PDF sewing patterns geared towards petite sewists. So, sewists who are of a shorter stature, 5'4" and under, although all of my patterns can be adjusted for any height. I am also known for great sewing tutorials and sustainably minded sewing blog posts. And I'm here today to talk to you about the difference between natural and synthetic fibers and what that means for you when you are fabric shopping. So, first, let's discuss what we mean when we talk about fibers. Fibers are the little threads that make up a fabric. And each of these threads is made out of a raw material, be that a man made raw material or a naturally occurring raw material that comes from either a plant or an animal. And all of these fibers will affect when you're sewing how the fabric drapes, how it reacts to washing, how durable it is, how breathable it is. This information is very important to know when you're fabric shopping and can really give you an idea of how the fabric is going to behave once you get it, how it's going to feel on your body, how it's going to wash, how long the fabric is going to last. All of these factors are very important to be aware of when you are fabric shopping. Now, the fiber of a fabric does not tell you the full story. You still need to know the weave of the fabric, if it's, say, a cotton woolen versus a cotton jersey. These are two very different fabrics, both made out of cotton. So just knowing the fiber content is not going to tell you everything you need to know about the fabric, but it is a crucial detail as far as knowing how you're going to care for your fabric, what season you might be wearing it, how it is going to feel on your body. All of these things are an important part of the whole story that the fabric is telling you when you are choosing your fabric for shopping online. So today we are deep diving on the difference between natural and synthetic fibers. Let's start with natural fibers. Natural fibers come from the earth. They are a more sustainable choice when you are sewing. They come from either a plant, so cotton or flax, which creates linen, or an animal like silk or wool. And these fibers are known for being very breathable, very comfortable. You will want to look for these fibers if sustainability is highly important to you. They are biodegradable. They also are great at absorbing moisture. This is an important thing to note. For instance, you wouldn't want natural fibers in your activewear. It's going to absorb any sweat and it's just going to hang on to it. But the same thing that makes your natural fibers highly absorptive is also what makes them very breathable and very comfy against your skin. So there are some cons to using natural fibers. They do tend to wrinkle more easily and hang on to those creases more easily. Sometimes that's just part of the appeal of a natural fibered fabric like linen. We know it wrinkles, but that sort of like delicious rumpliness is part of the vibe of a linen garment. However, you don't necessarily want a formal dress or perhaps something that you're going to be packing on vacation to be super wrinkly and rumpled. Oftentimes, natural fibered fabrics can be pricier. These are materials that are naturally occurring in the environment. They need to be grown. If it's an animal, it needs to be raised. It's not just something that is being man made at an endless rate. So they can be a little pricier, especially if you are looking to be super sustainable and looking for organic, sustainably dyed, that sort of thing. Natural fibers also tend to shrink and or fade quicker and easier. This was a living organism at some point. Again, they have great moisture absorption. They will absorb dye really well. However, they are not as color fast a synthetic fiber. And they will also fade with washing over time. And they will also shrink. You always want to make sure to pre-wash a natural fibered fabric. Sometimes you can get away with skipping the pre-wash out of synthetic fabric. However, with natural fibers, I always recommend wash it as you want to wash the garment that you're going to be sewing so that any shrinkage will occur before you cut out your garment. Some examples of natural fibers. Of course, we have denim. Denim, we know, is cotton. It's the all-American fabric. You can find denim with synthetic fibers. It's very common to find a denim blend. That is a blend of cotton and live spandex. We will get to those momentarily. But you will find it in denim. You will find it in a crisp shirting. You can also find it in jersey, a nice stretch t-shirt material. And then we also have linen, everyone's favorite. Again, you can see how wrinkly this linen is here on my dress form. Some other natural fibers are wool, which of course comes from sheep. Wool is great for keeping warm, and it tends to be used more with knit fabrics, although we obviously know suit fabrics are generally made of wool traditionally. And then, of course, we have silk, which has a lovely drape to it. So we know that the fiber content does not necessarily mean your fabric is going to crisp or drapey. Especially with natural fibers, they can come on either end of the spectrum. Silk is generally very flowy, very drapey, very luxurious, beautiful. And then cotton is a more everyday wear kind of fabric that is going to hold up well throughout the day. It's going to wash well, and it tends to be more crisp. Natural fibered fabrics tend to feel more natural. They tend to have a warmer touch to them. And sometimes synthetic fibers can have a sheen to them. You won't see that as often with natural fibers. As mentioned, natural fibers are not quite as durable. For example, wool will tend to felt over time, especially if it's not properly cared for. And cotton can get wear thin. We all know we have those favorite pairs of jeans that get holes in them in the well-worn places, the knees, the crotch. You can patch it, but you will often feel that the fibers are just wearing thin in those high traffic areas. As far as washability goes, natural fibers are generally going to need you to pay more attention to how you're caring for them. You don't want to just chuck everything into the wash, especially your silks, your wool. Some of it might need to air dry, some of it is okay to dry. You just really want to pay attention to those fibers when you're thinking about the care of these fabrics. So, if your goal is comfort, breathability, sustainability, natural fibers are your best friend. Even though they can be more expensive, a little more high maintenance, it is a great option for everyday wear if you're trying to stay specifically cool in the summer months. You can do a natural fiber like cotton or linen. If you're trying to stay super warm, wool is a great choice. These fibers can definitely work to your benefit, especially if sustainability is something that you care greatly about. Now, synthetic fibers. Synthetic fibers are man-made fibers. Think polyester, like spandex. These are fibers that modern science has brought us. They tend to be stronger. They can be stretchy. They are going to be much more durable. They are typically going to be more wrinkle resistant. They are usually going to be cheaper. They are going to be very vibrant and hold color very well and really hang on to those saturated, bright colors you will find in synthetic fiber. However, synthetic fibers aren't all that great for the environment. They're never going to biodegrade or disappear. So, if this is something that is important to you, it is definitely good to have this in mind. Think of polyester. The fibers are essentially like strings of plastic. So, think of it like that whenever you're considering things like polyester or nylon. These fabrics are going to be much less breathable. They are also going to sometimes feel a little bit plasticky. They might have that sort of shiny sheen to them. You want to be careful when ironing these fabrics and using hot heat because they cannot withstand that. The iron can straight up melt your fabric or it can leave a shiny burn mark. You want to be really careful not to use that iron on full blast when you are working with synthetic fibers. They also can tend to pill over time, get those little balls built up after long periods of wear. Not all synthetic fabric not breathable. There is great modern technology in the activewear sector. Anything that says moisture wicking is going to help pull that moisture away from your body. It's not going to soak up into your clothes. This is amazing if you want to sew your own activewear. I learned the hard way that natural fibers just do not work for this application. You do not want a cotton spandex legging, even though it will be very stretchy. When you work out in that, you are going to see all the sweat in all the places. It's just going to hang out in those leggings. Whereas a polyester legging will not show the sweat as much. It'll be pulled away from your body and will probably be a lot stretchier as well and a lot more durable for that type of application. So it's one thing to say that synthetic fibers are all bad and polyester is horrible, but the developments of fabrics made with these fibers has really come a long way. Polyester used to be, you think of the 70s, that really itchy, thick, scratchy double polyester fabric. It is no more. And now we can really use polyester to our benefit if we're looking for really durable active wear or something that's very stretchy. Examples of synthetic fibers. I've said polyester a million times. It's the one that's most commonly known and thought of when we think of synthetic fibers. There's also nylon. You're also going to find nylon in active wear. You also find nylon in non-stretchy fabrics like linings or raincoat, windbreaker type material is usually going to be made out of a nylon. Then there's acrylic, which you can find in sweaters. We all have seen the acrylic. If you're a knitter, acrylic yarn can be very popular. It's a great fiber for a more durable sweater knit that's not going to bag out on you. It's going to maintain its shape over time. And then, of course, spandex and lycra, stretchy fabrics. You will often find spandex and lycra in a blend alongside linen, alongside cotton. Anytime we need a natural fiber to act more like a synthetic fiber, you will find a blend of the poly or the spandex together. Sometimes when the two combine, it's like a match made in heaven as far as finding a fabric that you really need for a specific purpose. As far as performance factors of synthetic fibers, where natural fibers can span across the spectrum as far as crisp and drapey, synthetic fibers do mostly tend to have a drapier feel to them. Sometimes they can also be clingy to your body. These fibers will tend to create more of that static cling effect that can be unattractive. Also, as far as hand feels goes, they can be all over the place. You could have something like this that feels very silky, or you could also have a raincoat or a vinyl type of fabric that is going to almost literally feel like plastic. And they also tend to feel cooler to the touch. Synthetic fibers, as discussed, are very durable. Again, it is just plastic woven or knitted together to create a fabric. So it's not going away. It's much less likely to fade. It's much less likely to wear thin. It is going to really last you a longer time, which is great if you are wanting to build clothing to really last. It's not so great from a fast fashion standpoint. A lot of fast fashion is made with synthetic fibers. As I said, it's much cheaper. So all of this clothing that is made with synthetic fibers that may end up in a landfill, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not going to biodegrade. It is going to sit there until the end of time. A great thing about synthetic fibers, it is also very durable in the wash. Super easy care. You can throw it in on almost any cycle. You can usually dry it. I often will cut and sew with a synthetic fiber without washing it. I don't recommend, just because you never know what's going to happen, but you can get away with it a little bit more than you could with a natural fiber. So the big question is natural versus synthetic. How do I choose which one is better? What do I need for my project? The real thing to remember is that one is not superior than the other. It really just depends on what your goal is for your project. Are you making a pair of jeans? I recommend cotton. Are they fitted jeans? You need some spandex in there. Generally, always check your sewing pattern packet. There will often be fabric recommendations in there as well. Usually this corresponds to the weave of the fabric. However, often they will suggest fibers as well. You also want to think about, is this garment going to be worn and washed a lot, like activewear? Or is it something that you can wear multiple times before you have to wash? Does this fabric need to breathe? Does it need to have structure, or does it need to be more flowy? Do I travel a lot? Does it need to be more wrinkle resistant? Am I trying to be more sustainable, or am I focused more on performance? All of these things are things you can ask yourself for each individual project. While it would be great to just only sew with natural fibers and be completely sustainable minded, it's not really practical as far as most of our everyday lives go. And you'll find that you're very limited as far as shopping for fabric, because so much fabric these days is a blend of the two. And that wraps up my conversation about natural versus synthetic fibers in regards to sewing and fabric shopping. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it gives you something to think about when you are shopping for fabric online. Now you can look at that fabric content and get a little bit better of an idea of what you're going to get, how it's going to feel whenever it arrives at your door. Again, I'm Amy Nicole of Amy Nicole Studio. If you liked this video, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, Amy Nicole Studio, and my blog at amynicolestudio.com. And of course, I also have a monthly newsletter where I send out updates of what's going on in the studio, as well as new product releases and highlighting all of your amazing makes using my patterns. And all of my newsletter subscribers have access to my freebie vault on my website. And this includes my free Krissa crop sewing pattern, as well as a bunch of fun printables and sewing pattern hacks for you to use. I do hope that you will check it out and give me a follow. And thanks so much to Abby for hosting this amazing boot camp. I hope you all get so much out of it and are encouraged to fabric shop online with confidence. Happy sewing! Bye!
Now you should have a really great idea of whether you want to use a natural or a synthetic fabric for your next project. A huge shout out to Amy Nicole Studios. Thank you so much for this super information packed video. I know it's going to be a game changer for so many people. Now, below this video, I want you to tell me, are you going to use natural or synthetic fabrics for your next project? And let me know why now that you have all this great information. And while you're down there, be sure to join the actual Fabric Shopping Bootcamp event. By joining the official event, you'll get access to all of the videos, exclusive discounts, replays sent right to your inbox, and remember that chance to win over $500 in sewing prizes. And if you would like to be notified whenever these videos launch this month, then be sure to like and subscribe below, then hit that bell icon. That's going to let you know as soon as a new video drops so you don't miss anything. Can't wait for the next video to drop? Check out some of my other videos here. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.